What's going on, everyone? Welcome. This is the Warehouse Series. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to all my new subscribers. I just reached over 8,000 subscribers, and probably the last 1,000 has probably because a Discord member, the Slip King. He's really been pushing my channel, and I know I've talked to the Slip King for over an hour on the phone. What a great person, and he literally just wants people to do well and succeed at this job. Now, guys, if you are new to the channel, after 26 years, I did quit in the warehouse. So when people ask me, can you film this? Can you film that? I am not in the warehouse setting anymore, but after 26 years, I can still help you and help you succeed at your job. And guys, I do have a whole playlist of my selection videos. So if you're questioning whether I could do the job or not, just go watch my selection videos. And I don't want to hear that, I'm slow at selecting. I do those videos slowly on purpose because whenever I come back later and edit it, I could talk through it. If I'm running through the thing, then it's not going to be an educational video. And that is what I do in those videos. So you have that as well as other people listing their videos over on Discord. So if you are not a member of Discord, you need to join that Discord. We have well over 1,000 members. I think we're actually over 1,400 members, and people over there helping each other all the time. So when you reach out to me and say, hey, can you do a freezer thing? Guys, I'm not in the warehouse anymore. So first and foremost, freezer. I worked in dry goods and perishable. So, if you're a freezer warehouse worker, you are missing out if you're not a member of that Discord. That's all I'm going to say is we got a great Discord community, probably the only warehouse Discord community around that actually helps people. So please join that Discord. All right. So today I'm going to be doing pallet reviews from Discord. So when I do pallet reviews, I'm hoping it helps the person individually, or if they build a really good pallet, I'm hoping it helps other selectors. And with that being said, I want to talk about percentages in minutes. Someone left a comment on one of my videos saying, I'll get into that later. Let's get into some pallet reviews, and then we'll talk about percentage versus minutes. All right, guys, so this first pallet I'm going to look at, someone posted on Discord, and I really like this pallet, and I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why. First, we start off with a really nice base, and guys, always imaginary lines. We always want to be in the confines of the pallet. You never want to be hanging over. We're hanging over a little bit here, but I always say fingers width. And the fact that I like this pallet a lot is we got higher cases on the inside, cases pointing in when we possibly can. If you're new to this channel and you're on Discord, go to my favorite or my top videos and the cross and tee videos. Please watch all of them because they are very beneficial to dry goods and perishable. All these sugars, I love seeing them all stacked together. We're not spreading this stuff all over the place, guys. If you have these types of bags, you do not want to stack on them. The best thing to do is just to column stack them right in a corner so you don't have to worry about them. And then I love this right here, guys. Case facing in. And then we bridge this case from here to here. So this gap here just became irrelevant because we got this case bridging from one to the other, and it's going to help. And we got this big weight over here. And then, guys, I have no problem with this up here. Once you get this nice solid base and we stack these sugars up, just start throwing cases up there. All right, especially if you're a shorter person, just start. And this is why it is proper to build a proper base and make your pallet as sturdy as possible, because then you could just toss cases up there. It really doesn't matter after you get to a certain point on your pallet. The rest really comes very easy. That base is everything. All right, so this one here, we were talking over on Discord. This person actually asked me, could I put this on, and already had it planned out because I want to talk about this because this is very important. Guys, I started in the warehouse when I was 19, and I promise you it could take 3 years, 5 years, it could take 10 years. Your body is going to start wearing down doing this job. This is why I say selecting should be a short-term job. If you're warehouse and you're going to be selecting for 8 years, get the hell out of there. In my personal opinion, get out of there. If you have options of getting on a forklift and doing stuff like that, then you can stay longer. But if you're going to be a strict selector and it's all, okay, everyone in my warehouse is selecting after 5 years, make it get in, make some money and get out type of deal, because your body is going to wear down. So guys, in the course of a day, you want to throw as little weight as possible. You're already throwing enough weight in the cases. You do not need to be throwing extra pallets, especially blue and redwood, because these pallets weigh up to 50 pounds. All right, so these breaker pallets that we have on here are unnecessary. All right, very unnecessary, especially when you could build a good pallet, which this person built an excellent pallet. I love the base of the cat litter. I love them spaced out. I love everything about this. All of this would have stacked perfectly on top of the cat litter without the breaker pallet. So that's 50 pounds low that we did not have to throw. We did not have to throw this pallet up and possibly injure our lower back because, guys, not only is it 50 pounds, it's not 50 pounds in a bag, it's 50 pounds in a 4 foot by 3 foot or whatever it is, however big the pallet is. So anytime you spread weight over an area, it's awkward weight and it puts pressure on your lower back. Unnecessary to throw that pallet up, especially when this person builds this good. Look at this. Raw charcoal. This was his comment whenever I reached out to this person. Okay, he said, I probably agree with you on the first one, but the second one, I'll stack it on charcoal. Throw a slip sheet, all right? A slip sheet weighs ounces. Throw a slip sheet instead of a pallet. The way you are stacking, me personally, I never even use slip sheets. All this stuff here will look just like this on top of this section here that you have. And not to mention this pallet's going to be 3 foot shorter. All right, I don't know if this made it on the truck. If they had anything to do, they're probably going to take this white box off and this back box back here, but it probably did not fit on the truck. That looks pretty tall. That's another thing, is once you start throwing these breaker pallets in, you start adding height to the pallet. So if you have a full cube maxed out pallet, well, you're just adding more onto that, and it's probably not going to fit in the trailer. But for crying out loud, save your backs, guys. I understand you guys are young. A lot of you people that are on here, you're young. You've only been selected for a year, 6 months, 2 years. Give it time, and you're going to be like, man, I really wish I did not throw all those breaker pallets. Stop it, all right? Especially you, because you can build. Without a doubt, this is so perfect. I love this pallet on many aspects, but boy, do I hate those breaker pallets. All right, this one here I really like as well, guys. Dry goods, a lot of mixture of cases, and I'll tell you what, all these 2 liters I call problem cases. If you're going to stack them higher up the pallet, we can do a full layer like this. Lower on the pallet, see how we forced our boxes on the outside, because this Hawaiian Punch is a heck of a lot more sturdier than the 2 liter with clear wrap around it. So keep as many boxes to the outside as possible, and then sometimes you have to stack a whole layer of it because you just keep getting 2 liters after 2 liters. But when you have the option to keep boxes on your corners, keep those boxes on the corners. When you keep getting them, unfortunately, but you know what? We're midway up the pallet, but we kept rolling with it. This person really did a good job. And then what did they do, guys? You don't see the back pallet wrapped. You see this pallet wrapped. When in doubt, wrap your pallet, all right? Because they did a great job. Did a great job on the back one. We have a little bit of a slant out, but, they're probably trying. I'd see, and I never know if these people are trying to make up time or whatever. So, but the back pallet, you can tell the person can build. I mean, it's a great pallet. It's a great looking pallet. And keeping boxes on the corners instead of those 2 liters are just so crucial, I promise you. All right, this one here, not too bad. So the only thing I want to say on this one is that the reason why I took the screenshot of this one is high to lows. I skipped the back pallet because it was all the same cases. And guys, that is a perfect thing that maybe I should have added it on. See how we got our Capri Suns, and then we got some maybe Hawaiian Punches or whatever. We got Huggies. If you have a quantity of stuff, just stack it straight up on the back pallet. You're always going to be even on your layers, and I love how they did that, so maybe they threw until they got a level layer and then they came over here. But tying into a gap, like let cases leaning to a gap, is never a good thing, because even that small box, if that slips into the gap, when you go to separate your pallets and you have to pull away from this, that little case is enough to push the whole front of your pallet over, and you got your cheese that's leaning up. Always lean your cases facing in, never out. Always high corners, low inside. So there are some things going on here. Your base is good, but from here up, it looks like you just started throwing cases all over the place. You can do that, but just do it properly. This on its side, it's not going to hurt. I don't know what's on top of it. It looks like this is like lemonade mix, pink lemonade mix, and then you got, I don't know what these boxes are. But if these are liquids, put them upright. I'm always a firm believer of putting liquids upright. But letting cases lean in the gaps is always a bad thing. And you got this lean coming to the front to your jack right here. So when you pull away, there's a good chance that this pallet might fall over. So you really want to get out of this routine of just throwing cases in the gaps where they could wedge themselves in from you driving around, and it's going to push your cases over when you pull out. All right, guys, same concept. Beautiful dairy pallet. We stay within the confines of the pallet. This whole pallet is perfect, except for one case. One case, like I said on the previous picture, one case that could ruin your whole entire day. And that's this case right here. That case is barely resting on that one. So take this juice and just scoot it over a little bit so we got more of it resting here. Once again, you're driving around, your jack's rattling or whatever. If this case, and you can't see it, we got our forks here, so you're up this way. You can't see this. Let's say this case slipped into the gap and you go to pull away, and all of a sudden some cases start falling over. Maybe it's the back of your pallet. I promise you, guys, I selected for most of my 26 years. That case falling into the gap is enough to push this beautiful pallet over. Other than that, you have done a great job. Just make sure you center space these cases out so they're evenly spaced between the two cases. Other than that, I love this pallet. You did a great job. Just call them stacking these, keeping them together. You almost create like these two Sunny Delights are one case. These two are one case. That's how you want to keep in mind with that stuff. Bigger cases on the outside, smaller cases on the middle. This is a beautiful pallet. All right, guys, this one right here, someone was saying, I got some Arizona teas coming up. I'm sure it's the gallons. How should I handle this? First and foremost, I would, me personally, all this light stuff that you have right here, I don't care if it's up top, past the mast of my jack, and I got nothing back here. This is what I always say. This is knowing your warehouse. If Arizona teas are coming up, you're probably going to get them darn near every order. Okay, so keep an eye on that stuff. What goes out every order? Arizona teas, I always get about 3-4 of them. All right, well, throw all these light cases and start stacking them on the front half of your jack. And this is a slotting issue, in my opinion. If you're coming out of Pringles and all this light stuff and taco seasoning, and then you're going right into Arizona teas, then something's up. Your warehouse needs to do a little better job, or they got you jumping around the warehouse because this is a smaller order that the store ordered. But me personally, all my light stuff is getting stacked real nice up the front of the jack, and it's going to leave this stuff open for the Arizona teas. Once again, guys, I'm going to keep going. I'm getting blurry, but I'm just going to keep going. So please remember that. I'm irrelevant. You don't need to see my pretty face to know what I'm talking about. So all the light stuff up to the front of the pallet, and then save this stuff. It's all about knowing your warehouse. All right, this section of your warehouse, start remembering. Okay, I get 3 to 4 Arizona teas every time. I got waters coming up. Velveeta, I usually stick that in the middle. So you got these teas right here. I usually stick it up on the front of my jack facing in, or I come back. I would love to see your second pallet, or is this the back of your front pallet? This looks like the front of your back pallet. I really would like to know what's on your second pallet. So the next time you take pictures, take a picture of both of your pallets, because I really want to know what are you throwing on your back pallet, because it could be on your front pallet. We need to get you stacking better. If you're entering... And what are you doing? I'm just curious. Leave in the comment section below. Why are we throwing all this stuff on here like this just to rethrow it? I'm just really curious what's going on here. So if you want to private message me on Discord, please do, and I will try to help you out. Send me some pictures, and I want to try to get you in a better way, because I don't know if you're a new selector or whatever, but just reach out to me, because I would love to help you, because dry goods is one of my better aspects of selecting. All right, guys, this picture was posted on Discord, and I just always want to say, guys, because we get so comfortable in the warehouse. We get so comfortable. We're so focused on selecting. We're so focused on our forklift, whatever you're doing in the warehouse, that you tend to forget that things can happen to this nature. Always in the warehouse, whether it's just driving by somebody, or if you have a bunch of items like this stacked on the floor and your warehouse doesn't have a lot of racking systems and they do floor stacking, be very aware of what's going on in your surroundings, because all it takes is one person, and it could have been one person. Someone had a liquid spill on the floor, and someone slid on the jack and hit one of these, and it caused a domino effect. When I see something like this, it's a wow factor. Like, holy cow, what a crazy cleanup. That's going to take a week to clean up. I get it. But I always think, is someone under there? I hope not. Always be aware of your surroundings in a warehouse, whether it's floor stacking or four levels up in the rack. I told you guys before, I always think of the worst when I'm looking up at racking, or if I'm looking at one of these 2 liters and there's one like curved because they're like shifted. Tell your supervisor, tell your office, there's a stack, I think it needs replaced or reset. Guys, don't be afraid to speak up, and especially if it's about safety, because someone could have got killed in this. I mean, this is really bad, and someone could have easily got killed. And I always thought about the worst. I think about the worst no matter what job I'm doing or wherever I'm at. So I think that's a great concept to have in the warehouse. Think about the worst, and always think about your colleagues at work, that, if you hurry up and you're a forklift and you're downtime and you throw a pallet in there real quick and you're pulling out and it comes back out with your forks and you just drive away, we can't do that. All right, your standard time and your times are not more important than someone getting injured. Always think safety in the warehouse, because there is 1,000 things that can go wrong in the warehouse. All right, guys, so the last topic I want to talk about real quick, someone left a comment under one of my videos saying that their husband works at a warehouse, and he threw a 50-minute order and he finished it in 30 minutes, and he used to get 170%, now he's getting 117%. So what the heck is going on there? So what's the difference between minutes and percentages? There's only one difference. And honestly, you as a selector should be focused on this. The warehouse knows that the majority of the selectors are focused on this. All right? If you're a well-seasoned selector, you know where I'm going with this. So 170%. We look at percentages. We hear the percentages on our headset. If you have a headset, you hear the percentages. It's all about percentages. All right. It's just like anything else with marketing and everything else. Well, we know our selectors are focused on percentages because that's all we give them in our headset. That's all they look at on the computer. When they pull up their screen on the computer, whether you're on Cronus or whatever you're on, you look it up and you're like, I'm at 105%. Back to work. No one looks at their minutes. Well, very few people look at their minutes. You should only be focused on your minutes, because if I'm up 20 minutes on an order, and it was 170% in the past, and now it's 117%, but I'm still up 20 minutes, that's all I'm worried about. It's the same thing. You're still up 20 minutes. Screw the 170%, screw the 117%. Focus on this. Companies know you focus on this. So if we make it 170, we know you're going to lay back and you're not going to select as fast. Well, as a company, you're throwing 170% on 20-minute order, being up 20 minutes. You know what, guys? Let's make it a 117, because if it's at a 117, they're going to hear that 117 in their warehouse and their headset, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to throw faster. Focus on your minutes. All right? That's all I want to say on this. Focus on your minutes. That's it. Don't even look at the percentages. Focus on your minutes, because warehouses, whether they say it or not, they could easily tweak your percentages. All right? They could easily tweak your percentages. And it's just like anything else, guys. They want you to throw as fast as you possibly can. And if you're hearing 130, and we lower it to a 110, but you're still up the same amount of minutes, but we know you focus on the 110%. We know you're going to start throwing faster. So don't be stupid about that. When you look at your screen, don't look at the percentages, look at the minutes, and know exactly how many minutes you're up. All right. Learning your minutes, and there's always someone in the warehouse. Find the people. There's always someone in the warehouse that has that shit down to a science. Talk to them, lunchtime, break time, and start nitpicking their brain and saying, okay, exactly about, what do I got to be at, for this or that. I'm telling you right now, focus on minutes, not percentages. That's all I want to say about that. All right, guys, thank you for joining in. I really appreciate it. Guys, give me a thumbs up, comment on this video. I have a lot of people that go back to Discord and they start commenting over there. Let's light up this video so we can get my algorithm going. And, if you're a new selector, join that Discord, please. Guys, everybody have a great day.